Okay, g'day again. I've done a little more with the van. I haven't actually been working on it. I've been concentrating my efforts on the bug, which is a whole lot closer to going back on the road. And I've had to do things with my other vehicle as well as maintain the house, family, everything else that has to go on. Right, now before you go, what the... And make a comment, hear me out. Okay. This is what I'm doing is I'm mocking up two parts of a HZ sedan bumper. I was going to try and get a wagon bumper, but they're like rare as hen's teeth. And they're so hard to get. And I actually had one. I bought a whole HQ wagon and I couldn't bring myself to remove the bumper, knowing how hard they are to get. Because when I got the car, it was, it's still, quite restorable. Had a little bit of rust on the floor and the usual places, but I just thought, well, if I take the bumper off this, it's going to kill it. It'll never hit the road again. And the other thing is that I've got these HZ bumperets on the front, which you get in those rubber overriders. And if you haven't seen them, I'll show you in a minute. And the HQ one didn't have the rubber parts or facility for them, so... And I had a HZ wagon bump, or HZ sedan bumper, but it was pretty bent up. And it was too wide. You put it on it, it's like sedans must be like an inch or two wider at the back than the vans and utes, because it was just sticking out too far. So I'd have had to cut it anyway. But I thought, well, I've got bumperets on the front. Yeah, might as well put bumperets on the back. And as with the front, I've see this is a mock-up. As I said, these being bent up and everything, these are going to garbage. The only parts I'm going to keep of these are the two ends. This part here is actually this corner end off the other one. I cut them off. I actually had that tacked on the other one, and then I realised I can't position it without having it in place, so I had to tack it back on. But they're the only bits that I'll be keeping from this bumper bar. And when I cut the other bumper bar, I'll be welding them onto here. I found that with, there's a few front bumperettes getting around that have just been chopped and welded, and they don't look right. I learned quite a while back that, work with what's already on the car. If you're going to modify something, work it off what's already there. Because it's already been designed for the car. So if you go trying to make something from scratch, it rarely ever comes out the way you want it. It doesn't work with the car. So because I'll have to get when I get the other ones and weld these on, they'll have to be cleaned up and chromed and whatever. But the purpose of cutting this hole in it is to make the mounting brackets. And I've used, this is one of the original bumperette ones. I never did like the original bumperettes, they just look dicky. And this piece here, I was lucky enough going through my pieces of scrap. This is actually used to hold the gas tank into my Ford gas tank that I removed. How's that for a fit? Pretty good. Even got a little bit of adjustment. These are actually the mounts for the hinges. And if you haven't seen the rest of the video, I've got a one-piece tailgate, so which, mounts on the top, has gas struts, so there's no need for these hinges. And the hinges are gone anyway. I sold them with the tailgate. And I've also got a cutout in here. This is the reason for doing this now. Within the next few days I will have this down back onto a chassis. The chassis is ready to go. And it's just a whole lot easier to do it while it's sitting up like this than once it's on the back on the chassis. I'm sitting on the ground, and it just becomes more difficult. Up here you can see where the lines are. Because on my one-piece tailgate I don't have a handle on the back. Try to keep it slim. The only thing I've got is the actual lock, and because it's difficult, you can barely get your fingers underneath it. What you find yourself doing is lifting it with the key, which is a really bad idea, because eventually you'll snap the key off in the lock. So where I've marked this line, I'm going to cut that away. Up here I'll cut it back and mark the line. It's a little bit rounded with the bumper, so I'll cut that back up to this other panel here, along to here, but here I'm going to cut it back so I've got enough room to get my fingers under the tailgate. I'll do it on the other side too, just to make it even though this is probably the only side I'll ever stick my hand under to lift it up. But the issue I got here is I'm going to have to cut through the spot welds, so we'll have to weld those panels together along the edge. Alright, the other thing I've done, just wanted to do before I get it back on the chassis, I've repaired the rust that was in here. These rusted out quite a few years back, and I just had bits of plate pop riveted on there with a bit of bog over it, just temporary. And that one I finished off. I put a bit of putty in it, in a bit of a hurry actually, because I actually messed it up a little bit, like a little bit. I did that one overnight. I had the issue where, because my roof lights are basically on top and over the other side of the van, there's a shadow in here, and so I brought this light over, and then I had the issue of wherever I put the light, it was a problem. Either it was slowing down the activation of my welding helmet and I was getting flashed by it, or if I put it far enough away so it wasn't doing that, then I couldn't see what I was doing, and as a result, and it wasn't, I'm trying to spot it, but I can't really see where I'm putting the thing until it actually lights up, and got impatient with it, and buckled a little bit, not majorly, but a little bit, put a bit too much heat in it. This one I did of a day. After that one I thought, well, I'll do it of a day light. And this one's come out fairly good. This is a whole series of spots linked together. And I haven't ground that back, but I'll probably find there'll still be a few pinholes. I'll have to go over it again and finish it up. But I'm pretty happy with that. That's pretty straight. That's good. There'll only be a very slight film of putty over that to cover welds and grind marks and whatever. I don't recall what's above it. It's probably my putty. It could well be putty that I put on it to cover the patch that was pop riveted. But it could also be full of dents. I don't remember now. It's too long ago. But anyway. As I mentioned in the previous video, I was going to cut the inner panel away on the other side to get in there and weld that bottom edge. I'll take it around the other side. This bottom edge where it folds over under, yeah, it's not welded. And I was thinking about it, I thought, well, it's pretty solid. It's welded here, it's welded there, yeah, welded all the way around. It's not going anywhere. Yeah, it's got a full chassis, it's not a structural thing. There isn't really any need to weld it. Of course, you got to secure it in some way, but a little bit, you know. But I mean, it's solid as. So. Yeah, what I'm going to do, I've got enough room to get down inside there with the drill. So every 2 inches, I'm going to put a large pop rivet. I'll use the 5mm large rivets. I'll probably use stainless ones actually. I won't use alloy, but. Yeah, that'll be plenty secure enough, and that saves having to cut out that inner panel and weld it all back together. So basically, yeah, what we've got to do now is grind there, finish grinding around the wheel arch here, and get these 2 bumperets mocked up and cut, and I can go back on the chassis and get it out of the shed to put it back in the garage for the time being until I've got my bug on the road. And yeah, it's a problem having 2 projects going at once, and at the same time we've got things wearing out on my road car. So yeah, I really don't have anything to spend on this at the moment. So yeah, let me get it back in the chassis, get it back in the garage, and I got my shed back and get the bug in and out, can get me fair lane in and out when I need to. Yeah. Anyway, thanks for watching, and yeah, looks a pretty big mess, but yeah. See, I don't have any bending machines. I don't even use new material, you know. This is bits and pieces off cuts, you know. I've used the, you know, like the original sedan bracket. I just cut the bit off where it was in too far anyway. Put that in, use the original bumperet mount. Joined them up with whatever, and yeah, I'll have to obviously clean it up, yeah, a bit, finish welding it, tidy up a little bit, but yeah, it's not going to matter, it's not visible, as long as it's strong. But it's still that little bit flimsy. When you've got a full bumper bar, you know, the 3 bolts are enough, but this is still too flimsy, it's got too much movement in that. So I'm going to have to put a 4th bracket, drill a 4th hole. I'll measure the bottom holes, I'll put them the same distance, or maybe line this one up squarely with it, because I've yet to decide whether I'll put the original dome bolts in it, or whether I'll just weld them out onto the bumper bar and be done with it. It's just, the whole thing's going to be chromed anyway, so I probably will end up just welding them in. So, anyway, thanks for watching. Bye.